Okay guys, so welcome to our first video. So I have here, so let's talk about derivatives guys. Okay, so dito, siguro I'll try to explain it as light as possible since sabi ko nga, so ang explanation kasi nito guys, so is mas detailed siya pag engineering students. So since architecture students ang you're all architecture students, so I try to uh, explain this as easy as I can, guys. Okay. Alright, let's talk about muna. So I think if you need a review or you need to review your topics in especially in mathematics in the modern world, let's say yung mga first part equation ng line. Yeah, kasi pag-uusapan natin yan dito. Okay, but di naman sobrang sobrang detailed. Okay, so let's talk about muna the slope of a curve. So let's say we have a x and y coordinates. Ito, kita nyo naman guys. Then, I have here is parang a simple curve. So ito, dinrawing ko na siya. That has a point P. Ayan. So of course, Newton devised this curve. So ang tawag niya dito is tangent problem. So the tangent problem states that Newton or Sir Isaac Newton wants to find out or gusto niyang malaman yung slope at point P. So of course guys, alam naman natin, how do you mean by a slope? A slope at point P, of course, slope or defined, ano ba yung ginagamit na letter M, di ba? Is equals to change in y over change in x, di ba? Or this is your rise over run. So, naalala nyo ba yan sa MMW? Ayan, so rise over run yan. So, effective yun lang. You can get the slope of a curve kung ito ay isang straight line lang, tama? So, it's either inclined to the right or to the left, di ba? Ayan. Inclination. So, of course, ang problema niyan, how can you get the slope of a curve? Kasi, curve yan. So, it does not have any inclination, di ba? So, kung may inclination man yan, at a certain distance, let's say, if you're traveling, let's say, point P, let's say, if you put a magnifying glass, microscope, let's say, at gumalaw ka dyan, from this point, so, nag-move ka, di ba, to each of the points here in the curve. So, of course, nagbabago yan at each point. Unlike nung straight line, let's say, meron kang straight line. Bawa, ito. Let's say, you have a straight line. Ito. You have a straight line here. You have a straight line, of course. Kahit saan kumuha dyan ng slope, di ba? Pare-pareha siya, di ba? Anywhere on this straight line. Pero, if we talk about curves, let's say, on this guy. So, of course, pag nag-move ka niyan, iba yung slope niyan at each point. Okay? So, this is a problem of Newton. How can you find the slope without considering each of the following magkakaiba nga yan? Using exact formula or method. So, dito papasok yung derivatives. So, of course, if you get the derivative of the slope, so kahit saan ka pumiling points dyan, you will get the slope at a easy instance. Or, at a slip moment or a parang rate of change o parang at a snap of your finger, kaya mo makuha yung slope at these points. Ayan. So, anywhere, kahit dito, kahit sa pumili ng points dyan dun sa function. Okay, so then papasok yung derivatives. Okay, so sabi ni Newton, I can find the slope at point P if I can draw a, what? Ano wait, so if I can draw a, what? What do you call this line? So, ang tawag sa dinowing kong line is a tangent line. Okay? So, you draw it as a tangent line. So, what do you mean by a tangent line, guys? So, a tangent line, guys, it's a line that passes at a curve at only one point. Tama? Of course, sabi ni Newton, I can find the slope at point P if I can draw a tangent line. Paano niya nasabi yun? What is the equation of a line? So, one equation of the line is y minus, let's say, you have your point P, may coordinates ka dyan na x x1, tsaka, let's have a coordinates, y1. So, x1, y1. So, of course, y minus 1 is equals to m, which is the slope, di ba? X minus x of 1. Tama? So, to construct a line, ito yung problem pa. So, of course, how do you construct a line? How many points do you need to construct a line? Di ba you need 2 points? Ilang point lang ba? Hindi ba isa lang? So, ayun yung problem pa. You cannot, tandaan nyo guys, di ba? If you remember your mathematics in the modern world, sabi doon, you cannot create a line by only having a point, which is at point P lang. So, you need another line. Tama? So, that's a problem. And, sabi pa ni Newton, the slope at this point is ito na yung slope at point P. So, yun yung sabi niya. So, I can get the slope at point P if I can create a line or I can plot this tangent line. So, ang isang problema niya, sabi ko nga, how can I create this tangent line, itong linya na to, if I only have point P? Kasi nga sabi, based from analytic geometry, I can only create a line if I have 2 points. Diba? Yung minimum number of points to create a line. So, sabi ni Newton, so I can approximate this tangent line. Let's say, if I locate another point dun sa curve mismo, somewhere in the curve, let's say I name it point Q, then I draw a line from here. So, drawing tayo ng line. Passing at point P and Q. Ayan. So, yan. Pardon me guys if I use my, ayan. So, sobra akong devoted sa aking license, PRC license. Ayan. So, ayan. So, I create a line that is passing at point P and Q. Tanong, is it a tangent line? Hindi na. Kasi tangent line, diba, ulitin ko ito, this is your tangent line. Ayan. So, tangent line is a line that passes at a point, at a curve at only one point. Pero to, dalawang beses na, diba? Point P and Q. So, ang tawag dito is secant line. Ayan. This is already a secant line. Okay. Sabi ni Newton, I can create or I can approximate your tangent line by simply moving point Q closer and closer to point P. So, ang gagawin natin, yung point Q na to, so at point P, steady mo lang yan. Sabi niya, Newton, have point P steady or nakatigil lang dyan. Then, I make point Q closer, closer, and closer until, of course, maging sobrang lapit niya at point P. Diba? I make point Q really, really, really close to point P. But, of course, hindi equal. Tama? Kasi, if I make P equal to, if I make point Q equals to point P, of course, may babalik ka na naman dun sa tangent natin na problema. Isang point ka na lang dun, di ba? So, that's why, I'll make point Q really, really close. Kasi, imagine you guys, if I make this point Q, igalaw ko siya, di ba mag-approximate or magiging equal sa tangent line? So, let's say, igalaw ko siya mas malapit. O, ayan. I move point Q from here to here. Then, i-drawing natin. So, trace natin. So, what will happen, guys? Di ba gumagalaw yung line? From this line, so, ito na siya ngayon. So, mas malapit pa. Oh, mas closer pa. Di ba ito? Connect natin ulit. So, point P, stationary lang. So, stay mo lang dyan. Oh, mas malapit pa. Ayan. So, di ba gumagalaw na siya from point Q. So, ayan, from here. Ayan. So, of course, gagawin mo yan, so on and so forth. Let's say, pinakamalapit na to. Kung papansin nyo, guys, di ba nagiging, yung line na to, yung secant line natin, di ba, as you move point Q, closer to point P, nagiging tangent line na siya. So, that's the concept of derivative, guys. Pero, sabi ni Newton, matagal yan. Kasi, isa-isahin mo pa yung points dito para maging sobrang lapit niya. So, he devised a way. So, ang tawag dito is derivative. So, I won't mind you anymore, guys, for the derivation. So, of course, sa engineering, diniderive ko pa to. Pero dito, I'll give you the direct formula. So, ito na yun. So, the formula for getting the derivative of any point or dun sa function natin, so anywhere on this point, or to get a derivative of a function, ayan, so that is the limit of your function of x plus delta. So, pansin nyo, meron tayong symbol for delta. O, delta yan, guys. So, it means change. Diba? So, alam nyo naman, diba? Delta means change. So, I have here the function of x plus delta x minus the function of x over delta x as delta x approaches 0. Guys, pag kinuha niyo yung limit of a function as delta x approaches 0, this notation becomes this notation, dy over dx. So, dy over dx, guys, that's the equivalent notation for the derivative. So, tandaan nyo na yan. So, notation yan. That's the notation or symbol for derivative. Okay? So, another symbol pa, ano pa yung mga commonly used symbols, derivatives sa calculus, is y prime, dy over dx, or f prime of x. So, ito yung tatlong commonly used na derivative. So, pag kinuha niyo yung, let's say, the limit of delta x as limit of the function as delta x approaches 0, that means you're getting the derivative. So, that's dy over dx, pwedeng y prime, pwedeng f prime of x. So, ayun. That's how you get the derivative. Okay, so, that's how I explain derivatives. And let's talk about the steps or procedures, or what is the step or the process of finding the derivative. So, I have here the 4-step rule in finding the derivative. Or, it's also called as the differentiation part. And the process of finding dy over dx is called differentiation. Also, another name for derivative yan. So, differentiation. Yan. The process of finding the derivative, which is dy over dx or y prime. Ayan, depende dyan sa notation na gusto nyo. Okay, so, I have here the 4-step rule. So, ito yung susundan natin all throughout. Okay. To solve the derivative of functions. Step 1, so substitute daw x plus delta x for x and y delta y for y. In y is equals to function of x. Of course, this function of x, guys, this is your function. Ayan. So, substitute daw yung x plus delta x sa x. Ayan. So, substitute. Ayan. Then, y delta y plus delta y sa y. That's step number 1. Step number 2, subtract y is equals to function of x from the result of 1 to obtain delta y in terms of x and delta x. Ayan, so step number 2. Step number 3, divide both sides by delta x. Then lastly, find the limit as delta x approaches 0. Diba? So, kunin mo yung limit of delta x approaches 0, it means that's already your derivative. So, pag kinuha niyo yung limit as delta x approaches 0. So, ayun, that's your 4-step rule, guys, in solving the differentiation or finding the derivative of a function. So, of course, medyo sketchy pa yan ngayon sa inyo. Medyo malabo pa yan. Or hazy pa sa inyo. Pero, later, so, next video natin, I'll be solving problems following this 4-step rule, guys. Okay? So, yun lang, guys. So, watch out for our next video. Thank you.